Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the exclusive channel members live stream. Fantastic to see you guys here. These are special. I like these because they're a little bit more, I don't want to say intimate. It's just we can be a little more chill as it's just, you guys and me. I do want to first of all just start it by saying thank you to all of the channel members. I know that some of you have won memberships, but doesn't matter. It's all the same in my books. It's all support towards the channel, and it means a ton. It does absolutely mean a ton. All right. So you guys had the opportunity to vote on a few things this week. And you guys want to talk about different software and different portfolio management stuff. So that's going to be the main theme. Now, just because that's the main thing, that does not mean you can't ask anything you want. You can ask anything. It does not matter. We can talk about anything and everything. We just have we'll cover the content, but yeah, it's up to you guys. We'll go as long as you guys have questions. We'll keep going. So it's going to be fun. So before we jump into the questions, I have to laugh. So Jonathan says, "Am I late?" No, you're not late. But because you left the spaces out, I happened to glance at this as I was getting ready to start the stream, and I said, "Amylate, amylate." There's a chemical called amylate, but I don't think that's what Jonathan's talking about. So I went to a stock screener and I typed in amylate to see if that was a company that I didn't know of. Nope. I Googled it. Nope. And then I realized, duh, it's amylate without spaces. So that was funny. That was really, really, really funny. Enid is in the house. Hello. And we got Paul. Here. So here's the funny thing. I have no clue how many people are here. None. Zero. On these members only streams, it doesn't give me a viewer count. So everybody could be here, or it could just be 3 people. I just don't know. But I mean, everybody else has the opportunity who's not here to watch it in the replay. I mean, those of you who are here, you can watch it in the replay again if you really want to. It doesn't matter. Another big difference, I do not monetize these ones. So I'm just sort of letting you guys know. That's why if you normally are used to seeing commercials when you come into my streams, these ones, I've got it turned off because I look at it this way. You guys are already, you guys have already thrown in that, what is it, $3 and change after tax? So you don't need to be watching an ad for this one. You guys have paid. I'm perfectly okay with that. Talking in the wind. Sometimes, I think one of the very first channel member live streams, nobody talked for like 20 minutes or so. And so I was just talking, not aware whether anybody was there or not. Then Joe finally spoke up and said something. And I was like, thank God somebody's here. So that's kind of cool. Mario's in the house with a good evening. And Paul saying, yeah, 4 viewers or at least messages. Yeah, absolutely. Glenna may be here. She says she's shy, so she may not talk, but she could be here. We don't know. I'm sure that there are other people here, so probably some lurkers in the house. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about portfolio management software. We're going to talk a little bit about your broker as well. So it kind of has a big picture. So I kind of look at it like this way. When you're looking at your trading, the role of your management software is basically just to track what you're doing, to pay attention to your gains, your losses, giving you basically a way that you can see and evaluate how you're doing. That's kind of the big goal, because it kind of basically provides a feedback. Here we go. I just had Glenna, that's so funny. That is actually really, really cool. I like that. That was great. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, so basically, yes, the software it's a way of accountability. Now, there's so many ways to approach it. There's so many different programs out there. I'm going to show you a few here tonight, and we're going to talk about some general concepts about what you should do or what you can do. You don't have to do everything. Some people just like to drop their money in. Maybe they're just, picking up a few good stocks and they're going to say, yeah, I don't care what's happening with them. I know they're all going to be good in 10 years. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Then we got the other end of the spectrum. I know at least one person I talk to a lot on Facebook. It's like if a penny is out of place, he knows. He is that observant. Um, I'm sure, and I'm sure there's probably many of you who are like that. So we're going to look at a whole bunch of things like that. So basically, there's 5 kind of key areas. So first of all, we got user portfolio management software. We have alerts. Maybe you guys don't use alerts on your brokers, but we'll talk a little bit about that as well. We'll also talk about, how can you judge whether you're doing okay? Do you have sort of benchmarks that you can use? So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk a tiny bit about diversity and rebalancing. So we just did on the 0 to 1,000, 0 to 100,000 challenge. We just did a quick little rebalance in that. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and we'll talk about this thing called a trading journal. And I will tell you right up front, I do not use a trading journal, just because, I just do so much. I do so much. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit about all of these tonight. Enid says, whoops, all my stocks are in the red. Should I review my strategy? Right now, there's a lot of people in the red. We've had a pretty rough week. Now, even though we finished 2 days in the green, we just got into the green yesterday. And the same thing today. Like, we actually started today in the green and then went into the red. And we managed to make it back to the green by the end of the day. And this is just TSX. The US market, the S&P 500, it stayed in the red both days. So it's not necessarily that that you should be reviewing your strategy, but it doesn't hurt to always be looking at your strategy. It doesn't hurt to be continually learning all of that fun stuff. That's one of the reasons you guys are on this channel, right? Opportunity to learn, or perhaps it's just my quirkiness. The challenge to learn brings you in, the quirkiness keeps you. Well, there's the motto. There's a motto right there. Jonathan says, I'm in the red too. The tide's going out. All right. Well, we don't know if the tide's really going out, but I kind of suspected, we'd get a little bit of green by today. I'm thinking tomorrow will be a green day, except for in one area, and that is that's Bitcoin. I just have this feeling with Bitcoin that we may have a red day tomorrow. And part of it is just that Bitcoin traditionally tends to not do super well just before the halvening. And that halvening, it's coming up this weekend. So the halvening, actually, when we do this week on Sunday, the halvening will have already happened. So that's kind of cool. Paul says, wow, Wealthsimple crypto gives you real trade confirmation statement PDFs. Oh, there you go. There you go. All right. Now I'm going to show you guys something. Let's start with something right off the bat. Give me a second here. I'm going to pull this up the screen here. There we go. That's not actually what I want to show you. I want to show you what I use for my 0 to 100K. And I've shown this before, but we'll bring this over. I will make it a bit bigger. Whoops. I will try to make it bigger. All right. Anyway. So this here is, I'll push it over this way so my head's not in the way. This is where I just keep track of it. It's a very simple spreadsheet. Now, personally, I love doing stuff in Excel. It's kind of my jam in many ways. And I do these silly little color things, all of that fun stuff. But basically, in the tracking that I'm keeping in here is I'm looking at a few different things. How many shares I have. Now, look here. This is here. I've already made the buys for the next episode. So you guys can already see I've picked up a share of BAM, Bell. Bird Construction right there is our new one. You can see that by the end. I picked up another one of the Bitcoin Purpose Bitcoin Yield, 2 Decisive Dividend, 10 Diversified Royalty. Let's see here. 1 Fortis, 2 Hammond, 4 Pizza Pizza, 1 Ryokan, and 4 Timber Creek. And I also added XEG. So XEG, the iShares S&P TSX Capped Energy ETF. I love this ETF. It is one of these ones that does it really well when oil is pumping. So I have added this. I've also got all of my portfolio percentages over here. I believe Enid actually had asked if I could start including that in the challenge. I think it was Enid. So we'll have to sort of see. But I do that. And this over here is just sort of more of calculating. And down here, these are companies that are no longer in the challenge, but I sort of keep a little log of them. Now, I also keep track all of the dividend payments that have come in since the challenge began. So that way there we can just sort of come along this way. So yeah, I can do that. I can do that. So it's actually not that difficult, to be honest. I mean, basically the only place you got challenge like this here, I just manually enter this in. My book value is basically this times the number of shares. So that tells me the book value. My market price, that I have to update. Now, market value is basically market price times the number of shares. Then my ROI, you can see a little bit more complicated. So, and then I don't times it by 100 because I have this formatted as a percentage. But yeah, I will share this, all of that fun stuff for you, just to sort of let you know. Now, I don't use this, but apparently in Google, when you're using their Google Sheets or whatever they call it, I have seen that there are formulas you can use that will actually call for the prices for you. So, but I think it only works on U.S. prices. I don't think it works for Canadian, unfortunately. So yeah. Anyway, this is kind of my jam. I do love that. Even though I can find, and I will show you. I will show you right now. Right here on TMX Money. So TMX Money, it's free. You can sign up. You have to sign up to do this, but it's free. They don't charge you anything at all. And once you sign up, if you go on TMX Money, so it's basically money.tmx.com, under portfolios, watch lists, you can create your own watch list. And you can see I have a few. I have like this. I'll show you this one here just because it's kind of neat. This is my Dividend Aristocrat watch list. So it's got every Dividend Aristocrat in here. I got them all. Now, I have not updated this in a little bit. So there may be new ones that I haven't added yet, or there may be some that have fallen to the wayside. So we'll have to check. But yeah, okay. So I'm going to come back here. I was just showing you that, guys. I need to learn how to talk. I was just showing you that because it was there. But I also have I started to do one with the TFSA build. This is not up to date. I haven't updated it, but I'll just sort of show you. So this is stuff that is in there. Now, I initially started doing, so first of all, we got the summary, which just tells you all of your companies. You can look, it's like a watch list. It's actually very good. It gives you the change, the percentage, the volume, gives you the day range, all of that fun stuff. If you go to the dividends, it'll give you what date they pay out on. They'll give you the ex-dividend date. They'll tell you what kind of payment they do, quarterly, monthly, all of that fun stuff. Or down here, that semi-annual one. And then they will give you, of course, the yields and how much you can expect. So that's kind of cool, just sort of putting that together. Now, with my shares in the middle, I did start to add some of these, but this is not up to date. I started to do this, and I decided I just wanted to make my own spreadsheet for this. But you can do it here. If you don't want to make a spreadsheet, you can come in here, you can enter it, and then you could basically put in every time you buy something, you can, where it says add lots, you can click add lot, and then you manually enter it. So when you hit add lot, add a new lot. So you'll put in the date, the number of shares, how much it cost, if there were fees. So if you have like if your broker has commissions. So for example, let's say if you're using Questrade, you may have to put that in there. You can also put a note in there if you really want to too. So that's kind of a neat little thing that you can do through money.tmx.com. All right. Give me a second. Let me get caught up here with you guys. Red time to buy more, still up over 8%. Nice. And there it is. Yeah, so I can definitely share. And I'll show you. Just give me a second here. I'm going to show you a neat little thing here. Let's go to OpenAI. Whoops, I hit try chat GPT. That's fine. We'll just do the try one. It is good enough. So you can get formulas from chat GPT. So let's say, for example, I will do this here. We'll do it. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. I'm like talking like you guys can see what I'm doing. That kind of helps. You can actually go to chat GPT and you could say, for example, you could say, okay, I have my starting amount in A1. So that would be cell A1. And the current value in A2. Sorry, in A2. And I'm just going to I'm going to add in Excel. I have in Excel my starting amount in A1 and the current value in A2. Write for me, please, a formula to calculate the return on investment. All right. So there we go. We just sort of dropped that in and voila, right here. So it's A2 minus A1 divided by A1. That will give you a decimal. And of course, you're going to then turn that. Basically, what I do is I just format it into a percent. Then I don't have to worry about it. If you don't want to format it into a percent, you could then times it by 100 and it would give you the normal. It would still give you the percent just without the sign, but it's just easier to format it that way. So yeah, you can do this. If you don't know the formula to do something in Excel, go to ChatGPT. It will tell you the formula. And then all you'd have to do is, in this case here, if you were actually in A2 and A1, you could just take that formula and you could drop that right into your Excel and bang, it's done. Just one of those things. Now, I did it myself because I know how to do it, but I just wanted to show you this is an easy little hack when it comes to, and it's not just Excel. If you're using Google, if you're using the Google one, you could use that as well. Simple as that. And there's even this cute little thing too. You can click on copy code and it will copy it for you. So just something to keep in mind. All right, there we go. And yes, it was you. I thought it was. See, Paul says, have been using Bitcoin.tax since 2017 for crypto to enter each trade and income. Then it calculates your gain/loss and total income if you mined crypto. Yeah, that could be a thing. That could definitely be a thing. And keep in mind too, if you're doing Shake Pay. So if you're doing Shake Pay and you're doing that every day, and you're shaking and you're getting your free Satoshis, every single one of them is a transaction. And that you're going to need to be able to pull that into something. Like I've always just used Coinly and pulled that all in. But that's the nice thing. As long as you have something like Coinly, sometimes, if you have a lot of transactions, because they have so many free before you then have to pay, you may have to pay. But trust me, it's probably better off if it comes down to them like saying you're going to have to pay about $25 to do this. Just pay the $25 because the actual amount of work that you will have to do it manually is just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Unless you've been doing it all along right from the beginning, you just already have all the data. And it sounds like in Paul's case with Bitcoin.tax, he probably has everything. And that thing probably will also export to the tax software that he uses for his taxes, which would be very, very, very convenient. Enid says, yes, only works for stocks in Yahoo Finance. Okay. Kendall's in the house. And Chad says, can't wait till CRC gives me my income tax check. Hopefully market will still be in the red. Oh, do you actually get a check? I just assume everybody does instant deposit nowadays, but hey, why not? Let's see. TMX is only for Canadian stocks? No, they do American as well. Well, here, let me pull it up. I'll show you. Boop-a-doop. We'll bring it back up here. Where is it? Oh, I think I probably left. Oh, no. Here it is. Okay, so here's my watch list. So let's say I wanted to add something. We'll just add Microsoft, MSFT. So it gives you all of your options. So I want US right down here. So I would go down to Microsoft US. So a lot of the other Microsofts you see there are CDRs. So those ones are on the Canadian side. So I could choose Microsoft. And now when I go in here, you'll see here's Microsoft. Now, let's see here. Right now, because we're in my shares, let's go to dividends. Microsoft, you see all of the data here quarterly. So it will do that. You can still add it, track it as well. So anything that you can find on TMX. So, TMX, by the way, I've mentioned this, I've mentioned this a lot. TMX is actually the company that runs the TX, the Toronto Stock Exchange, so the TSX. They run it. So they are pretty good. And it's actually funny because I was surprised when I first signed up. I was like, free? Okay. And then I'm like, do they have like a pro version? Because, I find this website very useful, but they don't. So they don't. So that's going to be interesting. Let's see. Chad says, okay, Tesla, BNS, BCE, Hammond.A, EMB holding me down. Okay. Well, the market will recover. The market will recover. I have been watching HPS.A because they had quite a drop in the last couple of days. But right now, still nothing coming out in the news that would explain if there was anything out of the ordinary. So I'm looking at it as being just a regular correction at this point. But my eyes are open. My eyes are always open, especially on a favorite stock that I'm like, ooh. If it's just a correction, like I think, it could actually be very healthy for them long term. So just something to keep in mind. And if you were thinking, hey, might be a better place to get in, that's not a bad thought either. All right. Kendall says, does Google Spreadsheets have the ability to calculate that stuff for you? It should, yes. So what it should do is Google Spreadsheets was designed to basically be an alternative to Excel. So it has its own formulas. So there might be a little bit difference in the syntax. Well, here's a great idea. Okay, let's see. How would I do that in Google Spreadsheets? There we go. And here we go. She just gave me a couple of answers. So it looks like it's the same formula for this one. But yeah, so there we go. To calculate the return in Google Sheets using the starting amount. So yeah, so it's the same formula for this one. There are differences though, but Google tried to stay pretty close to Excel because obviously if you make it completely different, it makes it harder to pull over some of those customer base. Paul says, shake pay shaking, like a credit card promo, isn't taxable, but the actual sell later is a gain or loss later. Did they change that? Because I could have sworn that they were sort of treated the same way as interest was. But I can look that up again. I haven't really looked at the shaking for quite a while. But there was a lot of confusion. Like I think not this year, but the year before, there was a lot of confusion as to whether or not it was or wasn't. So maybe it's finally been clarified. Chad says, my accountant does not do cashback checks, meaning direct deposit. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. See, Google Finance, TSE, and A5, where A5 would be the cell to say have. Okay, there we go. So there's kind of Paul's talking about the formula that you use to pull in the data off of the thing. And that's probably better. Like Excel doesn't do that, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I wish it did because then I wouldn't have to manually update stuff. So I will admit, I have been tempted to set some stuff up in Google Sheets because of that ability. So that is, definitely something worth looking at, folks, for sure. Kendall says, wow, thanks. Really helpful. Guess I'll have to figure out how to use Chat GPT. You know what? Here's the beautiful thing. If you don't know how to use Chat GPT, you can ask Chat GPT, how do I use you? I mean, you basically just type in any question. So Chat GPT, it's not looking for a specific syntax. It's designed to sort of understand you. If you just sort of type as you would if you were talking to a person, it will respond the same way. Now, sometimes if you're trying to do something really advanced, you may want specific prompts to get certain results. But your best bet, Kendall, just go in and play with it. It's absolutely very useful. And I just can't I can't overemphasize how useful it can be. All right, Glenna says, I'm trying to get my grandkids interested in stocks. I understand some brokerages have practice trading with practice money. Any recommendations? I don't know. I don't like most brokers that I deal with don't have anything like that, but I do know that they do exist. Here's a beautiful thing. We got Chat GPT up here. Let's see here. Is there let's go a Canadian. We'll go with Canadian. A Canadian brokerage where kids can learn investing with fake money. There we go. We'll just put that in. We'll see what ChatGPT says because, yeah, paper trading, exactly. So the answer is yes. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Apparently, Wealth Simple has a version of it. I did not know this. So it says Wealth Simple Trade. Says it also offers features aimed at education, though they primarily provide real investing services. Let's see. TD Bank has something called Think or Swim. So that's a paper trading feature. Oh, it's pretty interesting. Quest Trade also has IQ Edge, it says here. And Stock Track, which is not a brokerage, but it provides educational services that are used by university and schools for teaching economics, business, and finance. And then Investopedia Simulator. So there's definitely a few. That's why I'm saying, like, if you ask me a question, I'm like, I don't know, but ChatGPT, bang, you got it right there. We got some answers. So definitely look at some of those. Yeah, absolutely. So ChatGPT, like I said, or not even just ChatGPT. I mean, maybe you use Grok over there on X, same thing. It'll all give you some great information there. So not too hard of a thing. Paper trading. Let's see. Kendall says you're dealing with an older guy here, but I'm not totally handicapped with this tech stuff. That's cool. Now my mom is, which is really funny. So my stepdad, his name is Al. So whenever I try to talk to her about AI, if I'm messaging her and I have the AI, I think she thinks I'm talking about him. And it's hilarious. And it's like, no, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about AI. Yeah, it's funny. It's actually really, really funny. But now, mind you, my mom is 70. I think she's close to 75. So she's getting up there. She's getting up there for sure. So just something to keep in mind here. So as I was saying, I don't know if I can show you guys this, but let me try. I just have to open it up here. Now, because I use a Mac, like Blossom doesn't have a desktop app yet, but this is Blossom right here. And I don't think I can get it any bigger, unfortunately. I don't know if I can or not. Let me see here. Let me go to my expand feature. Oh, there we go. It's a little bigger. So this is Blossom. Blossom is also another really good option for you guys. So when you're on Blossom, this is Jay Mula, whoever that is. But you have this portfolio section here. So this here, the portfolio right now that you see in Blossom is the 0 to 100K. That's what I got hooked up to it, because so that way there you guys can have access to it. Now you guys, when you're in there, you're not going to see these cash values here. That's because, you'll just see the percentages. But when you look at your own, you will see all of your cash values. So these are all of the stocks. You've got a watch list in here as well. Over here in the dividends, you can set goals for yourself. So for example, a goal I set for the challenge is to make $6,000 annually with dividends. It's up to $269.27 right now. So it's got a little bit. It has, of course, this dividend calendar, and I'll click on the view more. I showed you guys this yesterday, but this is really cool. So I know coming up next, I've got BNS, I got Sir Royalty, and I got Diversified. Now, then also I've got Fortis, the X dates coming up here in May. So it sort of gives me a general idea of what's coming up. Now, I wish this would go further ahead. It doesn't go that far ahead, but it gives you at least the next little while. And this is brand new. They just added this, so that'll probably change a little bit as well. So those are your dividends. You can also look at dividend forecast. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can look in, even allocation. So it's really, really cool that way. Now, if I go back to stocks, I can come in here as well, and I can sort them by a lot of different ways. So right now it's done by total value. I can do it by return, all-time return. Let's go here. Let's go to all-time return, and it will give you, it'll sort it basically here. So right now you can see, Sir Royalty. I love this stock, but it is disappointing me. Yeah, big time. Negative 13.32%. So yikes. All right. I don't need that. Now it's a little bit more wonky as I'm doing it right here because I'm doing it on a desktop. So now let's go back to portfolio. All right. So, and that there, I actually got the goal on here too, the 100,000. So I thought I would put that down. But it does give you a lot of information on, like dividends are increasing. My price gain is going down. But once again, these red days have absolutely plummeted things. You can get some good performance. And this is where I get the sector thing. So when I come in here, this is where I pull that sector, the picture for that I do in the challenge. So it is another good way. It's another good program to do it. Now, some of this is, I don't know which is pro and which is not. I do know that the dividend preview is part of pro. So it's just one of those things. I'll show you a couple of other things while we're here. They've also got this learn section. So you got Blossom courses, those are fun. I think you can only watch a bit of it if you're non-pro, but if you're pro, you get to watch all of them. But they also have these things here. So for example, the BMO courses, they've got stuff that are in here that you can watch and you'll actually earn some cash as you do it. So it's kind of a neat little thing. This is why I'm going to get rid of that mouse. I'm going to go to this mouse. I accidentally got rid of Blossom. I don't know where it went. Okay, where is Blossom? Yeah, it's disappeared. Oh no, there it is. Okay, I got it back. See, this mouse I can sideways because it's one of the Mac mouses. I can sideways and can go through it. So in here, you've got all kinds of different things that you can earn stuff, and it's kind of cool here. Let's see here. So right now I've earned $2 out of $12. So I have a wallet of 19. And if I want to withdraw that, I can withdraw it and they'll send me that cash. So it's kind of just a neat little thing in there. They also have, for example, earnings calendars. So if you want to sort of see who's coming up earnings wise. Now they do everybody. So because you'll see Coke, CNR, all of that in there. So if you're looking, it's not a bad thing. So I believe Meta's coming up here pretty darn soon. Let's see, where is Meta? Because I was talking to somebody about it. There we are. So Meta's coming up on the 24th, so next Wednesday. That's actually going to be, I think, a really good earnings call for them because they absolutely blew up in that quarter. All right, I got a few questions popping up in chat. Just want to get us all up here. Sammer says hello and goodbye. I'll catch up on this on the weekend. I'm in vacation. I'm in vacation in Dominican Republic. Nice. I'm cold right now it's like a cold, wet day here in Ottawa. So I'm actually chilly in the house. So I'm a little jealous, Sammer. Enid says, my portfolio in Blossom does not match my QT and Wealth Simple. Yeah, it just depends on how you set it up. So one of the downsides, I'll pull this back up here. So when we go to portfolio, and let's see here. Oh, very cool. That's not what I was looking for. Sorry, I meant to click on this. So when you go to your portfolio, so first of all, brokerage wise, you've got Questrade. Oh, Questrade is in here now, and Wealth Simple. So you got these two. So right now, I have to do everything manually because they got all of the US ones, but so far only Wealth Simple, Questrade. So National Bank and all of the big six are not in here yet. I know that I know they're working on it, but that could take some time. I have a feeling because a lot of times the big six don't like to open things up. Now, this new thing that came out in the budget about open banking, that could actually solve that. So that might help resolve that in the future. But in the meantime, I have to enter it in manually. So sometimes what happens is that if it's not getting all of the correct information, it's sort of kind of estimates. And for that reason, sometimes it will be off a little bit. Now, myself, I'm not worried because I manually enter it. I know that the information here is accurate to a certain degree because it knows, well, it is accurate. It's actually fully accurate. It's just that it doesn't have any of the new stuff I've done. Like the stuff I showed you in my other spreadsheet, I have not, all the new stuff, I haven't added it in here yet. But that's coming up. I have to do it pretty soon because the end of the month is coming pretty fast. So the next one of those has to come out. So I'll add that manually, and then it is accurate. It really comes down to whether or not, and here's the thing. If you want 100% accuracy, just do it manually. Then you don't have to worry about it. Because otherwise you're relying on how the API is communicating. But if you do add it manually, it works on it. It will be perfect. Just the only thing about it is, so I'll show you. Let me do this. I will pull this up and I'm going to have to bring this down to this size. So when I do it manually, so right here, what I'm going to have to do here is, in this case here, we'll add an investment. So we'll add one first, add it manually. So in this case here, BDT. So there we go, Bird Construction. So it's going to be holdings. So the way I have to do it is, oh dear. See, what is the downside of not doing it on my phone? But basically what I would do here, it's not giving me the option to do it. It's all grayed out down there, but that's because this is not supposed to be used on a desktop. I would then enter in the number of shares. So in this case here, Bird Construction, I would enter in 3. It will then ask me, it'll ask me what I paid for, or my basically my average cost base. I'll put in this case, $18.84. It will then do all of the calculations from that, and then it'll ask me which where I'm holding it. So in this case here, National Bank. Darn it. I wonder, I'm just going to try one more thing here. I'm going to see if I can edit one. Let's see. No, I don't want to add manually. Let's go back. I want to edit the portfolio. We'll see if it'll let me do that. So let's see. Timber Creek Financial, I bought 4 more. So let's try that. All right. I'm going to click Edit Holding. Oh, it looks like it's going to let me do it. So now so I would come in here and change that to 15. That should work. There we go. My average cost base. Now, this is what you would need to know. And you can get this from your broker. In my case, I have it right here. Let's see, Timber Creek Financial, 744. Oh, where did my thing go? I'm bringing it back up. So I will then change this to 744 as my average cost base. And it's in my TFSA. And voila, it's done. So there, I'll just return to the portfolio. So that one is now updated. So that's what I would do. I do that for each of these manually, but I know I have the right thing. Now, here's the thing too. like I said, once most of this is new, all of this API, they'll work on it. They'll continue improving it, and it will be perfect down the road. But if you do add it manually, you don't have an issue at all. All right. Let's go back to big screen here for a moment. And absolutely, I can understand. That would be kind of one of these things that would annoy me. And I think sometimes it's, I just don't know. I don't know enough about the API behind the scenes to really give you a definitive answer on that. Let's see. Ina says, my holdings don't match stocks sold last month still show. Oh, well, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. And it's, once again, it's that API it's not updating correctly between. So who knows we don't know if this is a Blossom issue or if this is like a Wealthsimple or a Quest Trade issue. My guess is it's either or. We really don't know. Could be Blossom, could be them. I don't know. What I would definitely say is just do it manually. Just do it manually and you will have no issues. Kendall says, I do manual entries also and only have my RRSP holdings in Blossom, so not hard to keep up with. So there we go. Exactly. So when you do it manual as well, you can then control, like, for example, if you're like, okay, well, I only want to share my TFSA or I only want to share my RRSP, then perfect. No problem. All right. Bleak is in the house. Hey, Bleak. Good to see you. And Enid says, I'm going to try to update them manually. Yeah. Now, where you've got the API, you probably would want to, let me just put this out there, disconnect it. So disconnect it from Blossom and then start with a fresh slate and enter them all in manually. The only downside is, yeah, when you buy new stuff, you have to go in and manually change and update it. But, you know, if you really want accurate information, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. All right. So we talked mostly about some of the different softwares. I wanted to talk a little bit about trading alerts. So most platforms will let you set up alerts. So basically what an alert is, it's basically you could basically say, hey, if this price hits a certain amount, I want you to let me know. So a lot of times this is where, if you're thinking, I always hear people say, okay, I want to buy in if, let's say if Bell drops to 40, I'm definitely buying in. Well, you can set up an alert over on Wealthsimple or whatever broker that you have so that if Bell does get to 40, it will let you know. And then you could be, hot darn, I'm going to get over there and buy some. So that's just one option that you have, setting up alerts. You should be using them. Like I use a lot of alerts for a lot of different things, everything from stop losses to, well, for me, it's mostly stop losses because I'm one of these people that I'm in the market so much because, you know, I pretty much eat, live, breathe, and sleep this stuff, that it's hard for a price to sort of fall, especially if it's something I'm looking at buying. I kind of know exactly where it's at and usually have an idea of when it might hit where I'm looking for. I'll even go as far as to do a little bit of TA on it as well. So just sort of something to keep in mind. Now I also was talking a little bit about performance. So how do you know if you're doing okay? So one of the key things, and some people will say, well, I want to have a return of X amount. Well, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. And that's your end goal. But what about in the here and now? So the best way to do it is to look at benchmarks. So for example, let's say your goal is to basically to beat the S&P 500. Well, then look at the S&P 500, see where it is benchmarked at, and that way there you can compare yourself to the S&P 500. So let's say, for example, I'll give you an example here. Give me a second. Let's pull up another spreadsheet. All right. Whoops. Here we go. I will bring up this one here. All right. And I need sheet 5. So when I am calculating, so sometimes if it's important, when I'm looking, so for example, this here is where I actually do the calculations for for my deep dives. So this is where I just do, these are the return calculations. So the 3-year, the 1 year, the year to date. This down here is where I'm looking and calculating the average dividend increase. So that's kind of cool. But I also, especially every so often, I will come along and just spread these out a bit so you can actually see. I will actually sometimes calculate these. Now, you can tell the last time I did the S&P 500, it was just before it hit 5,000. But yeah, so this here is, it's just, now for this here, this is just on the year to date. Because that's all I was really, actually, I did more than the year to date. This was the 3-year. Oh, I did all three. I did the 3-year, the 1 year, and the year to date. So, and that's pretty simple because I've got all the formulas. Like you can see it all up in there. I've got the formulas for all of these already pre-programmed. So it's just a matter of, well, here, let's do it. Just give me a second here. Let's get rid of this. I'm just going to pull this over here for a second. I will bring up, here we go. That's what I'm looking for. Let's go to, yeah, no, this is the right one. There we go. I was just down at the bottom. All right. So all I have to really do in this here is I just need the current price. These, now, the difference is, though, actually these would change as well because every day that changes a little bit. You can't, oh, hilarious. All right, there we go. I forgot that I dropped it down. Wow, live streaming. That's what happens. Gonna have a coffee after that big flu bar. Okay. So yeah, so here it is. So TSX S&P. I will use this. So the one I can calculate, I'll just update right now the year to date, because right now I just don't have this is where it started. So right now the current, let's say the S&P 500 is 5011.11 right now. So there you go. It updated everything. So right now, year to date, 5.60%. So that could be a benchmark. So when you're looking at your portfolio right now, the S&P 500 is up total of 5.60%. You want to be better than that if that's what your benchmark is. You know, and that kind of gives you a general idea, because when the overall market's going to be down, so is your portfolio. There's no way around it. So your benchmark's going to be moving. So that's why if you say, okay, my goal is to beat the S&P 500, then you just simply follow the S&P 500. Now, I've got this here going here, like this 5.6. There's an easier way to do it. If you don't want to do a spreadsheet, you can do this. Let me just show you. You just go to Google and you're like, what is the let's see here, S&P 500. Let's see, 500 ROI year to date. There we go. What is the year to date return for the, and here we go. One of these will have it. You would think so. Oh, well, okay. Normally it actually pops up right up in my thing here. Let's see. Yeah, no, it's just giving me year. It's not giving me year to date. All right. That one seems like it's not working very well. It actually normally does. Let me just try something here. Year to date return. There we go. Let's do it this way. No, it's still doing some weird stuff here. Oh, that's weird. That is really weird. I've done this before, like a couple more than once, and it's always giving me the information I've been looking for. Let's try this. What is the 2024 year to date? There we go. Now it's saying 550. So, and I think my sheet was saying 560, but close. But that just gives you a general idea, a general consensus. Oh, wait a minute. I thought I said, no, mine said 6, didn't it? No, 560. I was right. It just gives you a general idea on where your portfolio, where it should be. So if you're above it, then don't worry. don't worry about it. Don't sort of go, oh my God. Like if like especially in the bear market, when these numbers were down, you were going to be down. Your portfolio could be red and still outperforming the market. And that's kind of all that you sort of look at when you're looking at a benchmark. So just keep that in mind. So don't get all caught up about where the market is, all of that fun stuff. Just keep keep that benchmark and sort of look at it this way. So, or just because I like my whiteboard, it's time to erase the whiteboard, folks. All right, here we go. There needs to be a button. Like there's quite literally needs to be an erase all button. Come on. For some reason my mouse was getting stuck. All right. We're gonna do two. We'll do two lines here. We'll do a green line for the. No, we'll do a red line for the S&P 500. So let's say this is the S&P 500. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. We're just gonna come kind of like. So let's just say this is what the S&P 500 is doing. Then it has, has a crash. There we go. There we go. All right. I don't want to get too. All right. Now let's say your portfolio, your goal is to be better than the S&P 500. So let's say you start off here and you're going up, but you're not there. So let's say at this point it's doing 10% and you're doing maybe 5%. At that point, you're not doing that well. But, let's say as things go, you start to get a little bit better. Your skills getting better. And all of a sudden, at this point, you're doing better. You've hit your goal. All right, now we got a crash. Well, you're not going to keep going up this way. You're going to crash too. But what you're looking for is, let's say you crash like this and you go like this. All of a sudden, your portfolio, even though we'll go like that, we'll go like that. All right. So with this situation, even though you look at right here, you're just a little bit above it. Believe it or not, even though right now you're red in your book, in your portfolio, but look at the distance. Look at how much more space you have above the S&P 500. You're actually doing better here than you were doing up here, even though your portfolio was in the red. So that's why benchmarks are really important. So when you realize and you're looking at a benchmark and you're saying, oh, well, I'm doing what the market's doing, but I'm doing it a little bit better. Then you're like, yeah, go me, go buy yourself a world's greatest investor little statue, put it on your shelf. Yeah, absolutely. Because that's kind of the way it works. So you have to sort of keep in mind, look at the pulse of where it is and always be relative. Be relative to where it's at. Now, it does suck to be in the red, but you're outperforming the market. And when that market recovers up here, look at this, you're over here, you're well in the green, you're well above the market. And that's just because you had patience. Now, what happens is you sometimes get, and I'm just going to go with an orange. Sometimes you'll get these people who are outperforming the market, but when they're falling down here, they're panicking. And all of a sudden, they're selling stuff. I'll just put a little arrow and an S. All of us, well, why is that? Oh, I'm on the line tool. That's why it's been doing that. All right. We'll put an S. SELL. If all of a sudden you start selling because you're panicking, it's like, oh my God, I'm in the red. I don't know what's wrong. My portfolio is not working. What's happening? You're basically at that point, you're completely messing up your portfolio. You're messing up your investments. You're turning losses that technically these aren't even losses. These are actually still wins, even though they're in the red, but you're turning those unrealized losses into actual realized losses. And that's where you're getting in. Because if you remember, you're supposed to, buy low. Oh, there we go. Buy low, sell. My atrocious writing should hopefully stick with you. Sell high. And when I say high, I mean on the market. I mean, don't go and have yourself one of them funny edibles and then sell. That's probably never a good combination. But yeah, so buy low, sell high. Very, very basic kind of concept of doing stuff. So the big difference is, so I'm talking about this. This is kind of panic selling. The one type of selling that's not a panic selling is when you're looking at rebalancing, when you're looking at diversity of your account. So sometimes when you're looking at your account, you may be like, okay, I've got 50% of my portfolio in energy. This is fantastic right now because oil's going up. And this is the thing. If oil's going up and you're at that 50% mark, then it's at a point where you're like, okay, I know I've got so much in that boat. If that boat turns around, and it can easily turn around, I can start losing it. So in a case like that, the beautiful part of that is as you sell out of there so that you can move into other sectors, you're selling at a profit. So you're taking a whole bunch of profit off the table and you're re-diversifying, sort of building things up a little bit so that you don't have all your eggs. Well, in this case, I guess 50% is you don't have half of your eggs in a single basket. And that's great. That's fantastic. What's sometimes difficult is when you are in the red. So you take, for example, if you're doing a, let's see here. Oh, I will use the lines for this one. We'll go with a blue. So sometimes you may be looking at, why did I do that? I don't know why I did that. It's like, why do you want lines? And then you want to draw something. So you may have S1. So that'd be S1 and we'll say S2. So you own stock 1 and stock 1 is down. So stock 1 is down. Let's say it's down 20%. And you're looking at it and you're like, oh my God, this is a bummer. I don't think this stock is ever going to recover. And maybe it won't. But you're looking over there and you see stock 2. And stock 2 is in a similar situation. But let's say it's, we'll say it's down 20% as well. We'll say it's also down 20%. Now you don't own, that's funny. It made a square and then a circle. But you don't own any of this. So you're all tied up with stock 1. It's not going well. But you're looking at stock 2. Things are looking good. The news is looking good. Its fundamentals look better. And you're looking, my God, stock 2 is going to recover. While stock 1 is going to continue to, to struggle. So first of all, if you're not in a registered account, this is a beautiful opportunity for tax loss harvesting because you could take the loss. You could take the loss here and you could move it into here very easily. Now, if you're in your TFSA, you don't get the benefit of having that capital loss that you can apply against capital gains. But what you do have is if you have no confidence and if the fundamentals, and this is, I always say, look at the fundamentals on both of these. If these fundamentals over here are, I'm going to draw this. I don't have a brown. I'll do it in a black. If these fundamentals are poopy, oh God, I can't believe I did that. But if these fundamentals are poopy and these fundamentals over here are, ooh, I know what I'll do. Oh, come on. I didn't want it to do that. Wow. Stop that. Okay. Well, I'll try to make it less perfect. All right, there we go. I'm not going to close it because I think that's what caused it. All right, and we'll come back here like that. We'll come over here like that. We'll come back, almost come back. We'll come back. There we go. And we'll put little glowing things off of here. We'll add a halo. So if you got holy banana bread, good fundamentals on this one, you got poopy fundamentals on that one, that's a perfect rebalancing opportunity, especially if this is in a sector that you're underrepresented in, and this is in a sector that you're overrepresented, or sometimes if you're just moving the same sector to sector, just because you want to get rid of the pooper to pick up the the superstar stock that has the better opportunity. And that's where fundamentals will come down. So in a case like that, so here's the thing. Yes, you've realized that loss, but you really haven't in the sense that you have put that money into another stock that's basically, it's almost like you just traded the stocks. I mean, yes, there's still the financial thing that happens, the financial and the buy. But when this recovers and this stock is back at, let's say, 6 months later, the stock is only down 10%. There we go. And this stock is still hanging out at 20% down. Well, in that case, you've already cut that loss in half. So that unrealized loss here gets moved on to here, then it gets cut in half. So it's all math. It all is. Now, I know that some people really, really get caught up, and I've seen this. They get caught up and they say, I will never sell at a loss. Okay, fair enough. But here's the thing. If you will never sell at a loss, you can limit how much you can make. So if you're in a situation like this, where you can basically make a sideways move into a stock that has better fundamentals, maybe a better moat, has much more potential to make that money back faster than the stock that you're currently in, it can make sense. And if at the same time it does happen to help with your diversification, that is another bonus. That's another plus. So you want to kind of keep those things together. The other thing now, with just another thing with diversification, is when you're looking at your dividends. So I know a lot of people like to put drips on their favorite stocks, but if your favorite stock, and I'll show you, let's go here. Let's pull this up here for a second. That's not the one I wanted to pull up. I have way too many. I have to pretty much specify. All right, this is the one I wanted. So when we look at something like this, so I have Canoe sitting at 10.25%. Now, Canoe is one of these things where I don't mind being up at 10%. And I'll tell you why, because it holds multiple assets. So of this group, Canoe and my ETFs, as well as Brookfield Asset Management. So anybody who holds a lot of other companies, there's a kind of an extra diversification built into them. So those guys, I don't mind going up as high as 10%. But ones that are just straight up one companies, like take Bell, I've opened a 6% position in them. 5% is the most I really want. So even though I did add another, it's only because their price is really low at the moment. But I'm going to try not to. So you take the dividends that come in from Bell. So right now, I just did receive some Bell, $5.99. So that $5.99 is not going back into Bell. And you'll be like, well, of course it's not. It's you can't buy a stock of Bell for $5.99. But I could add other dividends to it and purchase. But so it won't go into there. So it'll go into something that's below. So for example, diversified royalty. That's a $2.81 average cost base. I've only got a 1.04%. So that's a perfect stock to start piling into. And of course, when I look at my diversification, material stocks are something I want to build up. There's a whole bunch of the lower ends. So it's kind of a neat little thing. Now, I'll get rid of this. It's just one of these things that a lot of times you sort of have to sort of keep an eye on the math. And if Mr. Math is your mascot, then that would actually be really good. Just give me a second here. There's no sense going, hey, Starbucks on here because they can't get in here. They're not members. Well, then again, they could be. I wouldn't know, but actually I would. I can go through the membership list. So just a funny thing. All right. All right. Well, let's switch back here. I want to get caught up on the chat here. All right. Kendall says, are you setting up alerts on the PC version of Wealthsimple? Because I haven't been able to do that. Only able to on the phone app. I've never tried on the desktop version. And It doesn't, that's one of the things. And that's kind of the thing. One of the reasons I don't use them for swing trading is that, or day trading, for the simple reason that the desktop app is just not that good. So I do not use them for that reason. But if you can do it on your phone, at least you have that. I'm surprised. I'm really, really surprised that you can't do that on their desktop. And yes, we fixed that. We did fix that. Sell high. Yeah. And Enid says, I'll catch up with you later. I have to go shopping now. Thank you, Candace and all. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. The last thing I wanted to sort of touch on was trading journal. So when you are, especially I think beginning and learning the ropes, keep track of everything you do. Now, I don't, for a simple reason that, let's see here. Give me a second. I will show you guys this here. All right, so I'm just logging into it right now, or attempting to. All right. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. All right, here we go. All right, let me, oops, pull this down so we get the full screen here. I am going to do this, and you guys are going to see the multiple effect here for a second, but that's because I have this on the same tab. I have this on the same tab as the other thing. So this here is inside the National Bank, and this here is that TFSA. So this is the 0 to 100K TFSA right here in the flesh. So what I have here, and this is the reason I don't really chart it or do a trade journal myself, but if I go into my activities and I go into my history, I can see everything here. Every single trade, contribution, distribution, and this here goes back to May or March right now, but I can change this. It's right now set on 1 month. I can go to 12 months. I can change specific dates. I also receive statements every year that have every single trade on them, like they're big statements. So just one of those fun things, like here's 24 months. So everything is in here. Every single purchase is in here. So there we go. Just one of those things that I have within my actual broker. Now, I think Wealthsimple has it, but it's a lot harder on Wealthsimple to get to all of that information. Just to sort of let you guys know. All right, let's get back. Oh, I'll pull this over. Let's, all right, there we go. All right. Whew. Get us out of that little area so that it's not too bad. Yeah, so we're kind of wrapping things up. If you guys got any last minute questions, throw them in now, because this is always fun. This is fun. I always like this. So I know Enid wants the data for that spreadsheet, so I will get that up. Probably put it up over on Discord. I think I can put it on Discord. I might even be able to see if I can maybe I can make a template. I don't know. I'll figure something out. I could always just make like a sample one and just with the formulas in it so that you guys can then sort of cannibalize it and do what you want with it. But also ChatGPT, as I said, that one is fantastic. Pretty soon, we're going to be doing that members choice video. So you guys always get to choose the last video of the month. So I'll be looking for some suggestions on that pretty soon. I'll put up a post probably early next week, and then we'll get that going. That's going to be fun. The other thing too, make sure when you guys are requesting any kind of videos or deep dives, things like that, make sure that you're doing it. Honestly, the best place for you guys is if you just go to any one of the community threads. Just let me know, because I usually double check to make sure, because if you guys are channel members, you go to the top of the list. So if you guys are looking for something specific, I get it into the vote a lot faster than everybody else. So just another little benefit that's there. We also have a new thing, a new feature called I can do shorts now for members only. So I was like, oh, I'm sorry, that was the cat. The kitten's up there sleeping. Um, I've been thinking about it. I'm like, okay, I got to just figure out what I want to do. So I'm probably just going to do something where it's not going to be like it's not gonna be like my other shorts where it's sort of like aimed at education per se. It'll more or less just be something that I want to give to you guys, like information or maybe some behind the scenes or something like that. So I'm hoping to do one next week. Let's make a commitment. Let's get one done for you guys for next week. That's gonna be cool. Kendall says, let's see, my trades are all emailed along with divs. Then I copy them over to Google Spreadsheets to keep everything tracked. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. And you see, the good thing is you can look at your trades, and sometimes if there's something wrong with the way that your portfolio is performing, you can go into your trades, and maybe it's a situation where you're trading too much. Maybe you're like, maybe you are without even realizing it. Maybe you're giving in to FOMO. So FOMO and FUD. So maybe you're selling when you shouldn't be and you're buying when you shouldn't be. And there might be a pattern of it that you don't even realize in there because, you may. So for example, if you sell something low by mistake, or not even by mistake, because maybe you were afraid. You're like, oh my God, it's falling. I can't bear it. And you sell it. Then it starts going. Then of course, you know what happens. If you sell it, it probably is going to turn around right away, and it goes back up. And then you're like, oh no, no, no. You buy back in really quickly. But you may have lost. Maybe you lost. You might have lost $20, or maybe you lost $40 in that process. And if you do that a lot, that can start to add up. So a lot of times when you have access to that data, you can sort of look at it and you can sort of say, okay, yeah, look, here's what I've been doing. And this is and you can identify where things are wrong. Now, the more data you have, the better the better you can sort of choose. I mean, it really comes down to you. Like, some people are sitting there, and some people will be sitting there be like, I just want the basics. I don't want any more than that. And there's people there that will just put in anything they can think of and the kitchen sink into their data stream. I'm probably closer to that second group, but I'm not all the way there, because there's things that I'm like, does this number have any relevance? If it doesn't, I'm going to leave it off. But sometimes I can think of ways that it might. So sometimes it does get included in. Yeah. So I think that's it for today. This is fun. This is fun. We're going to do this again next month. And as I say, when I ask you guys what you want, be creative. Anything you want. It doesn't matter. You guys are the channel membership. So you guys are going to get what you want all the time, for sure. Yeah, so I'll see most of you, I think, on Sunday when we have this week again. Of course, there is a video dropping tomorrow, but you guys can all have watched it today anyway. So until then, everybody, I'm going to bid you guys take care, and we'll leave on Paul saying goodbye, everybody. We'll be back here. We'll have another one of these next month. Woohoo! It'll be fun. All right, until then, guys, take care. See you later. Bye-bye.